Imagine that. We're here. We're live. Welcome, everybody. I'm happy to have you here. I love that little tune, that intro tune. I'm just so pleased to have found that. It's got a good jig to it. Gives you a bit of an energy pump for the beginning of the year, which is where we are in this interview today. This is the first interview of 2023. Welcome to the Paradigm Changers podcast interview. Very happy to have you here because you know what? That means that I'm back from my cancer battle and I'm here to serve you. I am still kicking. Lost some hair, got to grow back my mustache, but that's okay. I am so happy to be here serving you guys. We have a special guest here today. We have a person that is leading the edge, the cutting edge of technology for organic outreach, for organic, what's the word I'm looking for? Lead generation, that's it. And of course, we always love new software. And these guys have proven this software over and over and over again. And if you want to be in a place where you can not just 10x your ROI, that's return on investment. I like to use ROE, that's return on energy, because the energy you put in there should have something in value for what you get out of it. So we are happy here to have tonight Jarrett Wroten from FlowChat. And oh man, I am so excited about what you're doing with the organic outreach world today. So powerful, your software, brother. Take it away. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Coach Gene. Rotten is what my wife calls me when I'm misbehaving. Jarrett Wroten. I'm really honored, really blessed to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be able to impact, not just our audience, but as many people as we possibly can. Because at the end of the day, right, it is return on energy more so than it is return on investment. Because all of us can pay money towards something, but at the end of the day, we want it to mean something at the end of the day. And so that's what we're here for.
Yeah, 100%, brother. And, I'm just going to get everybody a chance to get a feel for who you are, what your character is. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that are a little bit personal, but don't be in a place where you're a little scared of them, because they're questions that, we all should ask ourselves and be able to answer. It's a simple one. Like, what's your favorite word?
My favorite word. Freedom.
Oh, that word means a lot these days, my friend. Yes, indeed. I like that word. So that brings us to an interesting contrast. What's your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. It would be two words. It would be I can't.
Yes. That's a powerful thing to not adopt and have at the bottom of the list. As a matter of fact, that's not even worthy of a list unless it's a list about stuff you shouldn't have on a list. All right, brother. So this is a generic question. So what turns you on?
Intellectual stimulation. And really being able to let my light and passion shine. So anywhere that I can pour 100% of myself into, that's what I live for.
Beautiful, beautiful. Man, oh man, you're making it a hard act to follow, brother. I have to vet my guests more carefully. No, I'm loving it, buddy. I'm just pulling your leg. And so what would be the contrast? What turns you off?
Limitation and control. And I think more so limitation that's perceived, right? Like based upon what somebody else's limit is, therefore you should act in a very particular manner, or you have to do it this way because I have only ever done it this way and I've only ever found success doing it this way.
Right.
The limitation of innovation, really.
Yeah, you bring something interesting up before I keep asking more questions. The limitation thing, as well as the freedom thing, kind of go hand in hand in the way things have gone the last couple of years. What with all the mandates and all the different issues that came from it, all the health issues, mentally, physically, spiritually, all these different things that were affected in ways that we never could have predicted.
Right.
And this is the core value of what I teach in my program is drawing that out of an individual, not saying that I did it this way, so you have to do it this way,
Right.
but being in a place where you can say, hey, I know we can find a way to make it work for you. And
Right.
be in that place where, okay, so to make it work for you, we have to draw out you, your
Right.
authenticity, your integrity, your character. We have to know what that is. And you have to share that with vulnerability in order to actually nail it.
Yeah.
That very powerful, brother. And you said limitation and control. Can you talk to us a bit about control?
Yeah. So control in so I've gone through so I've been in sales for a long time,
Mhm.
and when people see an individual shine outside the norm, their pride, their ego, whatever it is that they're battling with starts to pop up. It starts
Yeah,
to come out, and they no longer want you to achieve. Like, it was okay for you to achieve a little bit,
right.
but once you hit a certain extent, well, now I have to come in, and you can't do anything good enough. You can't, and just straight financially, like, you can't do it. Like, you can't make them enough money. You can't achieve anything. You can't sell enough. You can't be this. You can't create this much impact, because it starts to shine inside of them what they were, or they feel incapable of. They might not be incapable of it, just where they're currently at in terms of their
Yeah,
mindset,
yeah, yeah,
but they're not willing to break through that limit and go and take it to the next level. And so they want to put a hard limit, a hard ceiling on you. And
yeah.
that's, yeah.
Based on their own limitations, which is
Right.
the crime of the whole thing. Because
Right.
there's a that's that whole thing that we were talking about earlier, the authenticity, the vulnerability to be authentic. And we've got a couple of people on tonight. We want to acknowledge some people that are watching us live. This is a good friend of mine, Mike. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Happy New Year. And this is a friend of mine that I'm helping out, Sharon. Happy to see you. Happy New Year. And just wanted to let everybody know that we like to acknowledge you when we're live and be in that place where, hey, guys, you can ask questions. If you find yourself in a place where you want to ask questions of my guest, by all means do so. I will do my best to notice them in the comments as we move forward. But in that place where, thanks, Mike. Happy New Year, Mike says. And appreciate that, brother. And so control, that's something that we've seen on a global scale that has been epic in its level of failure in so many places. And we have a spirit here tonight of Happy New Year, and we want to bring in a positivity, an encouragement, an awareness that it's going to change for the positive if we each take an action in a positive direction for our personal lives, for our businesses, for our connections, for our spirituality, for our networking. We got to be in a place where we're supporting and loving each other, rather than saying you're bad because you think this way, and you don't deserve that because you did this. And that is what's destroying society and causing the divisiveness right now. And we need to be in a place where our business can develop something that is the opposite of that, that supports humanity as connectivity, as a species, as somebody with a future. Because right now, if we follow these individuals that are not elected, that feel like they, just because they've got the extra zeros, that they can control everybody else, this is garbage, my friends, and I don't support it, and I won't ever support it. Because it's against us. It doesn't support us as individuals, as entrepreneurs, as business individuals, because they're going to find a way to restrict what we can do. And we're in a place where the more we have, the more we can help other people get the same thing. We
Yep.
would never be in that place where we would restrict someone and say, hey, I'm better than you. You can't have what I have. Because I'm totally the opposite. And this is what your software does, brother. This is one of those things that FlowChat is amazing at. And every time you guys come up with a new innovation, a new addition to the way that system works, it just blows my head,
Yeah.
right? And it's an amazing thing. And you know what? I'm going to keep going with these soft character questions because
Yeah.
what sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise do I love?
Something that reminds you of maybe some great in childhood or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think rain.
Nice.
Yeah, the sound of
Nice.
rain.
Yeah. Have you ever slept in the rain, or like in a tent kind of thing?
Yeah, grew up on
There
the
we
East
go.
Coast.
There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, right. Might not have been by choice, right?
Right, yeah.
So, what noise or sound do you hate that grates your nerves, that makes you feel like, oh, don't do that?
Um, just I guess the sound of just constant sound. I don't know how to explain it. Like when there's absolutely no silence at any point in time, whether it's, I mean, I call it kind of like the sound of the city. Like when
Right.
I hear cars constantly, just all the time, it sounds
Yeah.
like everything is constant work.
Too frantic.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because at some point we have to rest.
Right. So this is again support the concept of your software,
Yeah.
because what does that do? It allows us to do a lot more work in a lot less time
Yep.
with more effectivity or efficacy, if you want to call it that, considering what we were listening to about certain vaccines, right?
Yep.
Efficacy is an issue, and we want to make sure that we are in a place where we can have something that we can say, hey, that's worth doing every year I'm in. Right.
Right.
I'm not backing down from this because it's foundational to my success.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Could you speak to that a bit about with respect to the software and how it's foundational to people's success?
Yeah, totally. So one of the big things with FlowChat is it takes the actions that we'd be taking anyway and shortens them and compartmentalizes them so that what we're able to do is we're able to spend our time most effectively. Because one of the things that I feel oftentimes is missed is a lot of us are really hard workers. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're really great at working hard. It's okay, now we have to put a system into place
That's
because the
right.
only way that we're going to be able to reach more people is through scale,
Yep.
right? Because we can only work as hard as we can work, and therefore we can only reach as many people as we personally can reach. And so what FlowChat does is it takes that same amount of effort, that same amount of time, that same amount of focus, shortens it down so that
Yep.
you're able to maximize your messaging at scale across whatever platform that you want to do. And then all that free mental energy gets to go toward how can I create more impact in other people's lives? How can I take the next step to create more freedom in my life, in my family's life? How can I achieve this next step? Because the reality is, the hard work can only take us so far.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You know, one of the most amazing things that I don't see entrepreneurs asking themselves is, when is too much too much?
Yeah.
When have I decided that I'm going to work 18 hours a day for 2 hours worth of benefit?
Right.
And that brings up the 80-20 rule, which we all know is that 80% of your results is because of 20% of your effort. So we have to find a way to get our effort down to a place where it's manageable and we're not wearing ourselves out. We can't be burning our candles at both ends. We've
Right.
got a new year to start. We've got some shit to accomplish here. We've got some wealth to create
Yeah.
and some abundance to share.
Yeah.
So we have to be in a place, where we can actually do something more than what we normally do. We have to be able to scale ourselves, our own results, our own reach, our own impact. And like you mentioned, more impact with less effort is key. Now I've got a question here for you, and
Yeah.
this is from a friend from Hungary.
Yeah, cool.
So Laurent wants to know this.
Will you integrate AI or more
Automation.
automation
You
inside
got
the
us both on that
pipelines?
one.
Yeah.
Good question, Laurent.
Yeah.
And I'm going to actually stall for a moment to let Jarrett get a good answer for that, because that is an excellent question.
Yeah.
And I actually was curious about that myself with respect to the software. Laurent is a software user as well, and he's had some success with it. Of course, we all have a learning curve, right? So go ahead and answer that question, my brother.
Yeah. So in my mind, walking it into the future, right? AI is going to be integral in every system that we will come into contact with
Yeah.
from this point forward.
Yeah.
In terms of integrating into FlowChat itself, right? Part of it is going to come down to machine learning and how much we can implement. And then it's going to come down to ultimately cost, right? And so the idea then becomes, how much more do we pour into FlowChat and increase that barrier, right? Because for businesses, there will be a barrier to entry at a certain point.
That's right.
So if in my mind, if there's a way that we can do it inexpensively and efficiently, then totally, absolutely, like, yeah, send that full speed go.
Mm-hmm.
The one thought that comes to my mind initially when thinking about this is, how much more expensive does that make the product?
Yeah.
Because we can't, absolutely, will it add value? Totally. What happens when you're a solopreneur? And now the base entry, entries is higher than maybe it might be, and now we can't necessarily reach out and reach into a niche where that person just needed a little bit of extra kick. They just needed a little bit of extra boost in order to take it to the next level where they're able to enter into that abundance, that wealth, that freedom, right? And so I personally would love to see AI inside if there is a way to do it inexpensively and efficiently without taking too much time outside of our primary focus, and keeping it true to FlowChat. Cool.
Excellent question, Laurent. Really appreciate it. Good to see you on, brother. Miss you, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the new year. He's been busy being a DJ on the side of, as well as at a radio station locally, as well as a coach. So he's a busy man, and he's got a beautiful family out there in Hungary. And love you, brother. Happy to have you on. So I had a great question too, wasn't it? So I actually have a bit of a solution to this issue with respect to AI and FlowChat. So I've recently come up against GPT chat. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Have you sampled it?
Yes, I've used it much. Yes.
Damn impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you, the first time I used it, I did 3-4 hours worth of work in like 5 minutes.
Yep.
And it was like, what? Just like the way I would say it. I just said, do this, change that, alter this, boom, boom. Now I did get to a place where it was the text was too long.
Yeah.
And I had to copy paste and say, finish this, which it did well enough. But I found that the one thing that holds it back, at least this particular app, is text length. Now, I haven't had to ask it to do any coding. I was thinking about asking it to do an Excel macro, but it doesn't have any context for the macro. So it's kind of hard, and I don't know if is Microsoft going to add it into their programming? Who knows, right? Because what's the limit? Well, exactly what is the limit, right? I mean, you already use AI as a FlowChat individual, right? So that you and I are already doing the same thing, even though we didn't network in order to come to that conclusion.
Right.
Because we are at that place where, see, there we go, listen to this. He knows, right?
Yep.
I do believe I introduced him to that, or at least we found it together in a way where we were talking about it together. But anyways, the whole idea is we have to find ways to work more efficiently, and in a way that actually is authentic to you, right? Because you can't come across as a lot of people are now bot aware, and they're I hate bots is what you'll hear, right? I didn't respond to you 6 times, 8 times, 14 times because I thought you were a bot, right? And I get that, and we work on doing our A/B split testing to avoid that, right? So, and the whole idea is we want to develop a relationship, and that's what is important about organic lead generation is you're developing. See, got my tongue cut around my eye teeth. Couldn't see what I was saying. So the whole idea is to just be in that place where you can have a know, like, and trust factor, which anybody that's an entrepreneur today understands that. So it's a beautiful thing when we can be aware of it and pursue it. I mean, that GPT chat being free is like, what? There are things that are way underpriced out there. Sometimes free is like a pig in a poke. You don't know what you're going to get and you end up wasting your time on it. But so far at this point, it's been worthy for me and apparently worthy for you as well, Jarrett. So that's not rotten.
Right.
So anyways, brother, I was going to ask you, what is your favorite curse word? Should I ask that question or just skip it?
I would just skip that one for now.
I think it might start with F.
Yeah.
and end in uck.
Yeah.
That's my favorite word, and I
Yeah.
use it. So, but anyways, what other profession besides the one you're in right now would you like to attempt or practice?
Um, I would like to become a farmer one day.
What?
Yeah.
Now, are you talking about a modern farmer where you're vertical farming, or you're a traditional farmer where you're spread out on 100 acres? Which way would you rather do it?
A traditional farm
Yeah.
and specifically focused on permaculture. So, as opposed to focusing on the land, like generating me money, it's focus on having the land become so self-sustainable that you don't need money anymore. And so
And not
that,
only that, but in that place, you'd be producing more than you could use. So you would develop a community relationship with people locally to provide you your excess. Say, hey, here it is. I'll give you this food. You're a plumber, so fix my plumbing kind of thing, right?
yep,
And be in that place. And now this, actually, now that you mention this, is one of the strategies for um, overturning this WEF thing that's going on,
yep,
and being in a place where we can end around their strategies
yep,
for taking away our cars and making sure that we can't go anywhere. And if we don't perform socially because of the app, the social ID, that we don't get to spend any money, or we don't get to receive the money that we should be receiving. And this is a perfect example, a strategy that has been spoken about over and over and over again with respect to how do we beat this.
yep,
So what do? We have to bring in a new system, obviously, and we have to bring in a system that works globally. We can't just be doing this like it's got to be, there's going to be alterations and changes based on geography and so forth,
mm-hmm.
and economics with respect to, those regions. But we need to be in a place where we can perpetuate our abundance,
Yeah,
that no one else can interfere with it. Because you mentioned freedom, you mentioned control, you're right. And
yeah,
these are things that we have to be aware of, and make choices that bring us a positive future, a positive manifestation of the things that we desire in life for ourselves, for our family, for our business, for our community, for the world,
yep.
in a sense. So does that give you, after having said that, are you able to blend that in with how FlowChat works in your own words?
Yeah. So with the way that that would work for FlowChat is you're no longer dependent upon paying an outside lead source to hopefully find the right client for you, right? It's like, for example, Facebook ads. Facebook ads are incredibly successful for a lot of people. I am hearing after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls is Facebook ads are also now fatiguing faster than ever. Ads are more expensive now more than ever, right? The people who are coming through to them, it's not quite as directed, because why would Facebook necessarily need to give you specific leads if they can charge you more for them? So they post you out to a broader audience, right? So with that, what FlowChat allows is that you get to go after the people that fit your particular criteria, and then you
Yeah.
can build a community for them, right? And invite them into this community, and it makes it easy to then nurture and grow those relationships, because FlowChat really just makes the heavy lifting at the front
Yeah.
not so heavy. Right? It's not saying that FlowChat is going to have all of your responses. We're not going, we won't be able to sell your product like you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No one knows what you're doing, what you're offering, how you're serving better than you do.
That's
But
right.
what we can do is we can make it less, oh my gosh, like I got to send how many messages today? It takes me freaking an hour to send 5 because I'm going through qualifying the right people, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
here's like that dilemma is you're going through spending an hour to send 5 to 10 message to the correct person. To
Right.
me, that's amazing, because you want to serve them in a capacity that no one else is willing to. Except
Yes.
you just can't get your voice and your message out there as wide, because your time, you only have so many hours in the day.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
what FlowChat allows is, hey, you're taking that messaging that you would be doing, spending hours finding the right people, then crafting that message and then making
Right.
everything super custom, right? You
Well, that
now,
super custom part is the part that's killer for time.
yep, that's exactly it. And so what FlowChat allows you to do is you get to go out, find those specific people from all those posts, from all those likes, from all those comments, from all those searches,
Yep.
put them in a list, and one click, you start qualifying them. They're not the right fit, move them into not qualified. You don't have to worry about them again.
Yep. Yep.
Second, makes it easy to then like and engage with their content. Why not? You're already there. You just saved an hour
That's
that
right.
you would normally be spending. Well, let's do something that's going to be value generating. Let's like some of their stuff. Let's comment on some of their
That's
stuff
right.
as you
That's
come
right.
top of mind. And now we go to send that message. Okay. It's going to be templated for the most part, right? Because I'm like you guys, I don't just want to send a templatized message all the time, right? Like that's some of the people's biggest fears that I
Yeah.
hear is I don't want to be seen as a spammer. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to tie my brand to. Great. FlowChat makes it easy so you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have that templatized message that's going to add in their first name that has the basic framework of what you're going to say, and you spice it up with one thing specific from their profile.
There you go.
Shows
Very
that you
simple.
actually care.
Yeah. And it gives you that authenticity, right?
Uh-huh.
As not only that as a follower, but as someone that you've just gone from like to know, and you're verging on the trust because you've taken that time to be authentic. You've taken that time to develop the relationship. You've taken that time to actually spend some time on their profile, on their posts, on the things that matter to them. And that's priceless. That's like making sure I say your name right.
Yep.
Right? It has power.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says. There's value in being personally invested in another person's reality. And we want to be in that place where we're not forcing ourselves, we're recognizing them.
Yep.
Right? We're not pushing us on them. We're recognizing who they are, their authenticity, their power, their ability, their uniqueness, right?
Yep.
And that's the thing that we need to develop as we build our business. We have to make sure that as we're developing this, we're maintaining our authenticity, our integrity, our honor. We're in a place where we're not spamming. We're not doing these things. It's not about the money. It's about the relationship, because, hey, somewhere along the line, it's going to be like a barter system. You help me and I'll help you type of thing, right? I've already been there, done that, right? With programmers and so forth and so on, where, and the business world, your farming world that you're talking about, that's a connection that we have to make on a regular basis. And we have to be in that place where we're aware of it, recognize it, notice that we're recognizing it, and take action in the right direction. We can't just think about it and let it pass. We actually have to make something happen with it, right? So what would be the one skill as you, as Jarrett, that makes you different from the other people that do what you do? This is a chance to blow your own horn, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. What makes me different than most people is that I'm willing to die to achieve.
Nice. Commitment.
Yeah,
Perseverance.
And part of it is, right, like one day a long time ago, like, and I couldn't tell you the day that it was,
right,
but I learned that the only limit that we actually have is the one that takes us to death.
Right.
And so everything else up until that point is everything that we've just made in our mind. It's fear, right? It's discomfort. We want to avoid those things that make us feel uncomfortable. And so the moment that I decided, I actually think I do remember, is my dad, he was my lacrosse coach, and he told me, leave it all out there on the field.
Yeah.
Leave nothing left in the tank. Because at the end of the day, like, and it all kind of clicked later on in my life, the only thing that we can do is our best.
That's it. With what you have at the time.
Yep. That's exactly it.
You can't take anything from the past. You can't take anything from the future. It's got to be in the now, and it's got to be something you have. You can't make use of someone else's stuff. And here we have, look, we got a fan going on here. Good to see you, Trent. Happy to have you on board, my friend. Do you have any questions about FlowChat, the software, you know it as the PCS system, with our good friend Travis, because he's white labeled it. And we can talk about white labeling. We can talk about sub accounts. We can talk about all various things. If you have a specific question, Trent, go ahead and slap it on there, brother. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask you to talk about white labeling. Is that something that you guys encourage, or is it something that you find is a dirty word?
No, we encourage white label. So one, we want to make sure that you have the ability to support your community, right? Because if you white label it and then you're not able to support the people that you're bringing on, it puts you kind of in a predicament,
Yeah.
right? And so we want to make sure that before we get into the white label portion, that you have a strong understanding, familiarity, and success with FlowChat first
Yeah.
and foremost,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, a tool's a to me, like, a tool is a tool, right? If you don't know how to use a chainsaw, don't
Don't
pick up a
pick it up.
chainsaw,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's the same thing. So like we love when people white label, because we know that you're using it to serve your community, to serve your people, and again, your know, like, trust factor. You're just growing it. And then you give them a tool that you're able to say, hey, this is how I've used it. This is how I've been able to generate success with it. Perfect.
Yeah.
You're the best person to say that. Nice thing is, on top of that, like, you get to make whatever you make off of it, right?
There you go.
We just wholesale the license to you, and then you go out, build it up however you want, provide your people your templates or your pipelines, however you want that to work, and then
Mm-hmm.
provide the support, and you're off to the races.
Right on. And white labeling is something that you have to do before a sub account comes into play. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So a sub account would be your version of providing it for someone in your network.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. As your own, there someone that would already be your customer, for example.
Right.
Right. Cool. Right. Awesome. And what is there anything else you'd like to share about that particular aspect of it?
So for that aspect, right, there's kind of two ways. So for those who are looking to transition into white label, but still want to be able to make use of, right? They still want to share it with their community. They still want to share it with, people that they find important and that might have value. We do offer an affiliate program as well.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in addition to that, so we have our affiliate program, which will pay 25% recurring, whether it's monthly or annual. And the nice thing is that you guys don't actually have to do any of the work. You just send them to us. We demo the software. They buy. You get paid all the commission.
Beautiful thing. Well worth the 25%.
Yeah.
Well worth the 20. I'm part of your affiliate program, so I can appreciate that. And there's so many aspects that make it user friendly, that make it shareable, that make it primarily and foundationally your go-to on a daily basis with your business. If you're doing organics,
yep.
With respect to ads, I get it when you may say that they're getting monotonous or stale or whatever the word. What was the word you used when?
Fatigued.
Fatigued. Yes, that's the word you used, and I agree with that 100%. Because there's a lot of people out there that are seeing their cost per click go up, and the warmth of the lead go down. You've got nothing but tire kickers, and you're spending upwards of $100 a click. What in the world is that? Yeah. Of course, this organic software doesn't cost you a penny other than the license itself, right? So there's no charge to get in there and do any of the actions with the software. And now it's even integratable into other softwares like Go High Level, and in that place where you can actually integrate it into other softwares as part of your programming. Yep. Do you have an email aspect to it? No, there's no email aspect to it?
Not yet. So that's something that's going to be coming down like a long ways into the future. We are ultimately going to build FlowChat into a complete CRM, I guess is the best way to word that, like a truly, hey, we're doing SMS, we're doing email, right? That type of idea. That's way down the line.
Right.
For right now, we want to help you guys dominate in the social space, because right now that's where the highest conversion rates are happening, is through cold messaging.
Right on. And ultimately speaking, with the way that the import sort of system works, you're not really importing a lot of cold leads.
Right.
Your leads are already warm before you even import them.
Right.
But they may not be qualified for who your niche is. So you're getting you're not getting a whack of leads, and you can control how many you get at a time,
Right.
right? But the beauty of it is that you're already swimming in the bluer ocean. You're not out in that red ocean anymore. You're in a place where you're actually um, gathering or collecting leads that are already, 50% of the way there to wanting what you offer because of where you find them, right? And so the strategies I'm talking about. Do you want me to explain them, or do you want to explain them?
No, but please, like, because what I always say is you speak the language better than I do. So I can tell you, like, I've run 70 profiles at one time, right? So I can tell you like what it looks like at an enterprise scale, but for you, you'll know it better than I will in terms of the language. So please,
All
Coach
right,
Dean.
so I'm happy to do it. So we use two strategies primarily. One is just essentially what we call a two-step, where we would, as a member of a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group or anything in Instagram or other places. I mean, I'll get you to list all the different places when I'm finished saying this. But what we do is we specify where we're looking and what we're looking for, and we make sure that when we find a post, an ad, a hashtag, reference, those things that actually we like to use, depending on which social platform we're using, that takes us to like I mentioned, someone that's already 50% because they've already raised their hand on someone else's post or ad or something like that. So you already know they're interested in what it is that you have to offer. It just might not be a fit. Maybe they don't have the time or the money or both, right? And you want to make sure that that's part of your pre-qualification. You want to make sure that you're minimizing your tire kickers. The other one that we use is actual ads, where you actually go to ads and say, hey, I can collect all of the likes, the hearts, the cares, the comments, all of that stuff with a couple of clicks right from that ad, and your tire kicker count is way down when you do that. As much as you mentioned earlier that there's when they do the ad sharing, the algorithm from Facebook, they actually spread it to a wider, more general audience. You're still getting people like me. Those people that aren't interested are just going to scroll on by. So the ones that are interested are the ones that are going to, oh, what's this? Oh, I like it. A comment, whatever. If they're a hater, that's easy to notice. Right? That's a quick nope, not qualified, right? And you're going to get that, because the software takes things in groups. So you whittle it down as a pre-qualification step, one at a time as you go through, and then you move them into the pipeline from there. Did you want to expand on that, brother?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there just for a quick second. So
Yep.
it's not just your ads, it's anyone's
Yes.
ads
Yes.
across any of the social media platforms.
Yes.
So if one of your competitors drops an ad out there, okay, pull all their likes and their comments,
Yep.
pull it
100%.
into your system, reach out
Beautiful.
to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there are a bunch of successful strategies. Everyone has it. Every platform has their particular dialect, their particular language, right? And so strategy is what ends up becoming what I'll call the next bottleneck, right? Is because once you now have this tool and now you can send those messages at scale and now you have all this freed up time, right? We want to make sure that we're speaking the language of the platform that we're on. And then once we have that dialed in, okay, the next step is, well, then let's leverage my LinkedIn. Oh, wait a second. You know what I can do now? Let's leverage my Instagram. Let's do my TikTok. Let's do my Twitter, right? So Facebook is the only platform, or Facebook. FlowChat is the only platform that can play across Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, Slack, TikTok, and Pinterest, right? And so we can go out and however hot your lead you want, just spend a little more time looking for them, right? You are in complete control of how hot or how cold your leads are when you pull them in.
That's right. That's right. And you should know that as you're pulling them in, you should be aware that, this is I just brought in 100 tire kickers. I know I did. Yeah. Right. So why do that to yourself? The whole idea is to do more work with less effort. So don't set yourself up for failure by bringing in a bucket of rotten fish. Let's bring in a bigger bucket with better fish in it, and not have to throw so many out. We want to be keeping as many as possible, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be in that place where we had 100 fish to begin with and we ended up with 2 we can eat.
Right.
That's not what we want, right? That's 98 fish that we shouldn't have grabbed in the first place, right? So let's keep that in mind as we go. I don't know if that was a good analogy or not, but
Yeah.
it worked in my mind. So
Yeah.
if you want me to say it differently, just say so and reach out to me and I'll explain it better. Because as an affiliate, I actually do sell the software and I use it. And my success is going up with it. So that, of course, I'm considering white labeling it. As I mentioned, that's why I asked, right? Not that I needed the answers, but I wanted you to share that with everybody because you just say it better than I will. So to get ourselves in a place where we realize that we spent 40 minutes doing this, and we don't want to take up everybody's time for the rest of the night, as much as we're having a great time and learning a lot. Is what would be the most successful lesson that you've learned using FlowChat and developing and installing it?
Man.
What helped you or took you the longest to learn?
Yeah. People will always be the bottleneck. So I think when, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to word it. So the tool itself makes things so easy that it can get boring. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody has been in that space where they've just been doing something for so long, no matter how much success it's bringing them, they just start to get bored. Like that for me, this is one of the things I really struggle with is once I start to get bored, my success starts to fall off. Not because
yeah,
I'm no longer skilled, but because I'm no longer passionate. I'm no
yeah,
longer all gung ho about it. Right.
yeah,
And so I think that has been the biggest lesson in that it's not how good you can become at something, it's how long you're able to just keep doing it.
keep the
And
passion going. Yeah,
that's exactly it. And whether or not you're able to tell yourself, like, you know what, I'm burned out. Like how little can we get tied into the world around us that says rise and grind, got to be up at 4, don't you'll work till midnight, do the same thing over again. It's a
yeah.
lie.
Yeah, well,
It's a,
and we mentioned at the beginning of the call that that's the whole idea. FlowChat, my coaching program. There's lots of different systems out there that show you step by step how to not end up in that place where you're busting your ass for nothing.
yep.
But the point remains that you said people are the bottleneck, and this is what I find with many of my clients or prospects is they're in a place where they've had so many different programs under their belt and they didn't get any results, or at least not the ones they expected or wanted. And it always, if you dig in a little deeper and you find a place to nicely and gently ask them how they fucked that up so well, you spent all that money and you got it wrong. Like, dude, I used to work with someone that would, butt in front of the apprentice and do the work for him and then turn around and say, I did it for you and you still got it wrong. So we got to be in a place where we understand that the encouragement, the inspiration to actually do the work is part of the formula. Because you'll hand something this tool, for example, FlowChat, you'll hand it to somebody and they'll think they need to be overwhelmed. And all they're doing is not trying. They're not actually digging in there to learn it. They're not showing up to the coaching. They're not asking questions in Slack. They're in that place where they're actually taking action to fail rather than to succeed, and turning around and saying it's not them, it's someone else.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the thing that I face all the time is we got to get to that place, me, myself included. I had to go through this, get to that place where I look in the mirror and say, hey, dude, stop screwing yourself over. It's time to say, yes, I'm doing this wrong. I need to change it. I'm not doing this at all. I need to start it. I'm doing this totally wrong. I need to stop it. Right. Whatever the case may be, we need to be in that place where we can say to ourselves, hey, I need to do this better. And I need to do it differently to do it better. There needs to be change. There needs to be a commitment to that change. There needs to be some skin in the game when you make the change. You need to be willing to commit to it and hang in there because, hey, Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, all these big names, they didn't get there overnight. They struggled like hell to get anywhere. And part of it was finding clients. You got to have your clients. You got to be in that place where if there's no money coming in, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If there's lots of money coming in, now you can actually build the business that you want. You can build the team. You can add the VAs. You can get the team managers going in there. You got the tech support going on. You got to be in this place where what you offer is a package.
Yeah.
It's not just something that it's like a little bit of something that solves the problem. It's the whole package that solves the problem. And that's what I find today. A lot of people are just selling a little bit of a full solution, when meanwhile that little bit, even if it's done correctly, is still only a small part of the puzzle, and you're still stuck in that place where nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Right? Even though you got a great email program, you got nothing to sell, or whatever, right? The case may be. And we got to focus on having a full program, a full package, in order to help other people get to that place where they understand what it means to have a full package and actually do it, right? Get in that place where they're making the difference because they're taking the action. Wanting it and doing it are two vastly different things, right? And this is what I find as an individual and a leader, is that all the successful people are simply the ones that are taking the action and doing it. It's got nothing to do with skill and everything to do with perseverance. You know what? The guy that won the race is not the guy that sat down during the race. He was the guy that crossed the finish line, right? And that's all there is to it. You don't have to be first. You just have to finish.
Yeah. Because I don't know if anybody's told anybody, but on the internet right now, there are millions of dollars just laying around on the ground.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And, one of the things that you said, that was really poignant was there's a difference between wanting it and doing it. And that line that splits the two is responsibility.
Yep, it is. Yep.
The victim is allergic to responsibility.
Yep. 100%.
Right?
And in full denial of it as well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Right.
And
because
so
that finger's pointing that way, but look at these three that are pointing back, right? Yep. You are the problem. And as soon as you admit that, you'll stop being the problem, stop being your own obstacle, right? And so
and it's a universal, it's a shared trait. Like, we're all our own problem. It's not, and I think oftentimes the world will kind of sink in and make it sound like if you are at X spot in your life, like you're the only one who's ever been there. It's just not true.
That's right.
Well, what you were born with a silver spoon? If you were born with a silver spoon, don't talk to me about success.
That's right. That's right. Because you've never had to earn it.
Right. That's exactly it. If you haven't had to earn anything in this life, like, I'm not really sure you have anything to offer the rest of us who have to get up every day and work our hardest and do our best to achieve our dreams.
Right. Yeah. And part of the goal in that hard work to achieve our dreams is to not have to work so hard forever. Right. And not only that, but to love it. So that what you do, so to speak, and I'm sorry I used the word do, but is love and have passion for what you end up taking action in and being in that place where, and for me, the transformation or the love or the joy or the satisfaction is watching someone else get that aha. Yeah, I did it. I did what, I finally got there, and look at the difference it made. And it was like me when I first did my very, very first live on Facebook. My finger was stuck to the ceiling. I couldn't quite get to the button. And it lasted so long, and there was a force field between my finger and the button, it seems. And that lasted so long, I ended up having to go to the washroom. It's like, what? Okay, I'll come back, and damn, that button's still there. Oh, you got to push it. Oh. Right? But once I got going, here we go. Here's a question from Mike.
Yeah.
He thought of a question, and we stayed on long enough for him to ask it.
How do you feel about app versus website in your discussion?
So I think what he's asking is, like, you have some versions of software that work via app, others work via website. Mm-hmm. This is in the cloud. Like, go ahead, you explain it, because that's a technical thing I can't explain well. So go ahead.
Yeah, totally. So, in the broader scheme of things, right, app versus website is just going to depend on how much productivity you need out of it, right? Because it might, in my universal opinion, for I am omnipotent, um, you're going to be able to, yeah, you're going to be able to do more work on a computer or a laptop than you're going to be able to do from your phone, right? And so it just really depends. Like, how much productivity do you need out of it? How specific do you need it to be, like, or how general do you need it to be?
Yeah.
And so that would be the delineation between whether you can get away with an app, because you can build an app. It's not, I don't want to say like for the cheap, but it's not going to be like standalone software.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's really, I mean, in FlowChat specifically, we recommend you use it on the website, right? I mean, can you use it from your phone? Yes. We've gotten it to the point where you can use it from your phone. If you have a computer, if you have a laptop, and you're able to walk 30 seconds to it and sit down in a chair and do the work, I recommend getting out of bed, walking 30 seconds, and doing the work on a computer itself.
Right. And he has a further question with respect to subscriptions and member building. So he wants to know how that would work, I believe, with respect to FlowChat.
Yeah. So for, in terms of building your own product, or in terms of for FlowChat itself?
I'm thinking he's building his own member group.
Beautiful.
In that particular case, as well as subscriptions to it.
Got it.
I'm thinking. So that would be a pipeline in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. So you would want to figure out on whatever social media platform you're going to play on, right? You're going to want to build a home for them, but like, just like, paradigm changers, right? There's a Facebook group for that, right? He's building a home where you guys can come and belong with other people who are looking to change their paradigm, right? And so own product.
He's talking about his own product and educational. It's an education. It's a puck machine that fires the puck at a goalie that's being trained.
Oh, that's neat.
For
that's
goalie really training, and he's got the best one in the world. And he wants to talk about. I'm not sure which part you mean, Mike, about the manufacturing, but as far as owning a product and the educational aspect of it, there you go.
Yeah, totally. So for, it's just how in depth. So for, it's going to depend on your niche as well. Yeah. So for like an educational product, an app would be perfect, because you can convince especially if it sounds like you're looking at teenagers and young adults.
He's already got it app driven in some aspects. So
beautiful. Yeah. So the way that it would work in FlowChat is specifically is you're finding a hockey group, maybe local, maybe not, right? You're finding a hockey group, you're driving them to your group, and then you're talking about your education, your app, and then ultimately it sounds like an upsell to your puck shooter. Puck
machine. Just call it a puck machine.
Okay.
Puck use machine. Use the letter P to start that.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we're going to have to switch platforms.
Right. That might be an app. And of course Mike. So he's working on it. He's going to come and visit. So there you go.
Okay. Cool.
There you have it. Oh, and he has curriculums, of course.
Perfect.
And stuff like that.
And so my thought for you would be, hey, look, are the people that you're going to serve, are they going to be the type of people that go to the laptop and the computer to learn a product, to learn about, or to be educated by what it is that you're offering? Or is it going to be easier for them, and can they just open their phone and click the button? Right. And so that would be my thought in terms of whether you go app versus website. And you know what? If you want to use the website and have it where it like directs them to your puck machine, right? And then there's a little tab that says education, right? And they log into that, then that could be really interesting as well. And then, that's what I would probably do. And subscription, again, my recommendation would be, I don't know. Everybody has a different school of thought. Yeah. I'm of the mindset that, like, just keep increasing your price until too many people aren't paying for it anymore. Yeah. And that's going to be for you personally. I can't tell you when too many people have stopped paying for it. right? Do the math, figure out in this case, truly the return on the investment. If you keep increasing your price, how much am I making versus how many people am I losing?
Yeah.
And then find a happy medium somewhere in there. That would be my recommendation in terms of subscription.
Yeah. And one of my things that I've learned over the past while is that we can sit here with our AI, generator and come up with all these scripts and thoughts and ideas and stuff, but we have to ultimately learn to let the market drive what they want. We have to let the market tell us what they want so we can provide it. And that's why we get warm leads, because they have the right questions that lead us to that next level for our own selves, as well as for how we serve people, right? Because you could be in a place where I never thought of that, or I didn't know it was available, or whatever the case may be. And now all of a sudden, you as a service provider have changed a paradigm.
Right.
Not only have you provided an opportunity for others to do it, but you yourself have done it. And that's where the value is driven from, is where if we can keep changing and improving as leaders, then obviously the people that are following us and modeling us are going to be able to do the same thing, right? And that's the part that matters the most, because we want to be in a place where we're not just doing it ourselves and bragging about it, because I hate bragging about this sort of stuff. It only makes other people go, well, I can't do it because look at how good he's doing. And that takes the authenticity and the drive out of people's, the wind out of their sails. We're not here to do that. We're here to build their sales up and get them at warp speed, right? Only working 3 hours a day and making 50, 60, 80, 100 grand a month. Why the hell not, right? If the system works that way, then do it. Yep. Why, what the heck? I mean, you can, within a couple of sales, you can afford VAs. Within a couple of more VAs, you can afford a house. That's so right. What are you waiting for? Right? What's the delay, right? So that's just the way I look at it, because I know that the effort is the key.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I said, wanting it and doing it. Right. So my brother, I'm going to walk through some links and stuff and let you explain them, because we're getting close. So this is how to connect with you on FlowChat.
Yep, that's how to connect with me directly. If you have any personal questions and need me to walk you through a more specific use case, a more specific demo for what it is that you're doing, I'm happy to do it. call.flowchat.com/Jarrett. That's 2 R's, 2 T's. And then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm happy to walk through anything. Just let me know, right? Hey, Coach Dean, or I'm from Coach Dean's group. That way I can make sure that everything is appropriately integrated.
Beautiful. And this is the next link here.
Yep. So that's my Facebook. If you want to add me as a friend, I'm happy to be friends with any and all of you.
Beautiful. And then we have LinkedIn.
Yep, that's my LinkedIn as well. I should probably change my picture because my hair is other side is much longer than it's ever been. So probably put something more updated up there. But
what's the goal on your hair? Are you going for butt crack, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep letting it go until
I was there, believe it or not. I had hair down to the arse, but that's another story. That's another whole interview. Wait a second. What do we got here? Well, I want to hide this one and bring this one. There we go. And then that's on the banner on the bottom there.
Yep. So this is our pro package. So what it does is, hey, if you want to save time, if you want to leverage our expertise in messaging, as we've sent hundreds of thousands of messages by this point, like I've run 70 profiles at one time with a team of 13 plus VAs, right? So what we've done is typically our pro package is $16.97 per month, but because we love Coach Dean and we want to be able to help you guys out, we're offering it to you guys special at $14.97. And what that will allow is that we're actually going to go out and find your ideal prospects for you. We're going to like a couple of their posts. We're going to send an initial message and then up to 2 more follow-ups. Right? We're also going to build out that entire pipeline plus all the messaging and everything for you. And then once a response comes in, it's going to be up to you to then nurture that all the way to a sale, because no one knows your business like you do.
That's right.
So we'll have that link for you as well. Yep.
And there's this link here that you need to use if you're in that place. And of course, make sure that you mention my name so that the affiliate rewards come back to me. And I will, of course, reach out to you to support you. And of course, I want you to speak about support.
Yeah, totally. So no matter what level that you're going to pick, right, you're going to have access to our support. So we have a Slack channel where our chief tech officer, as well as our customer success director, Ashley, they're both going to be able to answer any and all of your technical questions, right? If you want some more of the strategy stuff, right, we do have other packages where once a week that we go into the strategy on how to successfully message, right? This is more of like kind of a done with you type of service. But we're here for your success. Ultimately, like FlowChat wasn't designed to make money. Like we didn't make this because we're like, oh my gosh, we have a great idea. Let's go make $1 billion. Like this came as a result of our masterminds. We were building sales teams. What ended up happening is we made their sales team so good that they were able to rip through all the low-hanging fruit, and then the business owners were no longer able to keep their calendars full. So now they had a badass sales team, but they couldn't fill their calendars. Well, how do we do that? We were doing it on a spreadsheet and a piece of paper.
Ay, 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 ay. Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah. And so that's what we were teaching people from, a spreadsheet and a piece of paper. And then we said, this is antiquated. And so we got with our chief tech officer, Bruno, and we built FlowChat. And so this is more of an impact project more than anything else. And so we're here to help you guys become successful.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the thing is that every time I've been to a coaching session on Thursday afternoons, it's been monumentally helpful. If I didn't, so I've always been one to ask my questions, but there are always someone that asks a question I didn't think of. And you know that, and like, oh my goodness, I forgot to ask that, or I never thought of, you know, that as an issue. Mike's got to let us go here. He's got to go. But that's all good. When we're in that place, see you later, Mike. Thanks for hopping on and asking such good questions. We appreciate that, brother. But when we're in that place of having the support, we know that it makes a difference. If we have a question, either in the Slack channel or, you know, the support in the Slack channel, I mean, there's so many different channels of support within the Slack channel, and, you know, and that's powerful in itself because you get your answers quickly, right? They don't mess around, and they answer it quickly, and bam, you have you know, they'll go into your account and fix it, or whatever the case may be. They'll send you a Loom video to explain what they've done or how you're doing it wrong, or whatever the case may be. There is no gaps, and it's amazing because that's been one of the things that's bothered me in the past. Is someone will hand me a software and say, "Go ahead and get to her, bro." And I'm thinking, well, wait a second, I don't even know where the door is. I don't know how to turn this on or open it up or what. Meanwhile, the issue is not that way with FlowChat. They will explain things to you natively as well as online live. In the software, you can get all the training you need, all current training. So it's just amazing. There is no way. The only way to screw it up is to be your own obstacle.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. If you don't want FlowChat to work, don't do the work. That's
right.
it. The only people who don't find success are people who don't do the work.
That's it.
Everyone else, 10Xs.
There you have it. And it's not a difficult thing to do. All you got to do is, and the more you do, the easier it gets to do. Yep. So, right. And then you get to the boredom stage where you think, wait a second. So that's when you realize you've got a big VA team and all you have to do is the unscripted stuff.
Yep. And
you're free for the day. Right.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful thing. So is there anything you want to add, brother, that we didn't talk about?
No, this was very thorough. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be able to really increase the amount of impact that they're going to be able to hit. And I think the last thing that I kind of want to leave people on is scaling is the secret to your freedom.
Yep.
Because for like, I'll speak to FlowChat specifically, your only limitation across the social media platforms are going to be their messaging limits.
Yep.
And that puts you in a different echelon of your respective business groups and your business tiers.
Yeah,
right. And so when you can max out all your messaging on Facebook, all your messaging on LinkedIn, all your messaging on Instagram, TikTok, right? Yeah. Now you're sending out hundreds of messages a day. Even if 1% of those come through, how many more deals a month is that?
Yeah. Even at $9.99, right?
That's exactly it.
Right. I mean, you can make a good dollar at $1,000 a deal, right?
Yep.
You know, you have a wide price range. Well, here's a question for you: Is there a product price level where FlowChat is not practical?
It depends on what you want to do. So if you're like if you have a super inexpensive product, like 20, $30, and you're not interested in growing influence or brand awareness, then I wouldn't sign up for FlowChat, because FlowChat can be used to create what I call an influence machine, right? So it can crush for influencers. It's just, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But your goal in mind is like, well, I'm building my 100 super fans, right? And I'm going to sell them $1,000 worth of stuff. So there's my 100 grand. And so I think if you're not really willing to spend the time to sell a $30 product, I think it would really struggle. But if you're super passionate about it, like for example, I had a guy who sold bingo. He sold a Puerto Rican bingo game. Well, through FlowChat, he was able to sell out like every single month because he was just able to generate all the influence and was able to create a group and be able to pull from learn Spanish groups, and right. And so now he has brand awareness and brand recognition. Now he has a Colombian bingo game, right? And so it just it depends. Like if your primary focus is money per product, then I probably wouldn't use FlowChat for a product less than $50, unless you're using it as an upsell, right? Like you're doing an intro offer for $27 so that you can upsell them into a program that's $997, and then from 97 we're going to do private coaching for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 grand, right? Then it makes sense.
Mastermind for 50 grand, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But if you're just focused on, hey, I'm going to sell this for $30, you personally, and I don't know everybody on the planet, right? Although my omnipotence, right? So
it's just a matter of choice. You just said, I don't want to know that guy, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's how that works, right? And so it's like, if mentally you look at it and you go, I would never spend the time sending messages to sell something for $30, don't use FlowChat. Or if you are, you're like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm willing to sell this for $30 while I grow my brand, because I know that one day I'm going to get a brand deal that's going to be worth X. Then you just have to put your goals out further.
Yeah.
Your timeline has to be further. So that's a long way to say it depends.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, every business has its depends, right? And
Yeah.
I don't mean the underwear. I mean,
yeah.
but it will catch the shit.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Taking care of those, so to speak, yeah. Right? But let's hold to the course here. I'm not sorry, just in case you were wondering. Yeah. I have enough sand to know what my limits are and what I should say. I'm sorry. It's all good. But anyways, my friend, great interview. Really happy to have you on. I think we've covered all of the possible ground for FlowChat and what it means and how powerful it is, and how it can transform a business, almost any business. As long as you want to sell on social media, it doesn't matter which one. All the ones that have the power flow, have the FlowChat Go. So there we have it. Anything else you want to add before we break off, my friend?
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here and to speak with your audience. And I thank you very much, Coach Dean, and congratulations for breaking through and beating the cancer down.
Thank you, brother. It's a joy. And I'm enjoying the Rick Simpson oil. It's helping keeping me healthy. So you know what Rick Simpson oil is, right?
No.
No, that's a cannabis extract for fighting.
Oh.
So it comes in a capsule and it just keeps me alive. Oh, brother, I'm happy to make you laugh, my friend. So have a good one. If anybody has more comments or questions, by all means, there's details. The post details are on every post, except for Twitter. They don't do that. So of course, we've gone to Facebook 3 different ways: my personal profile, my private group, my business page, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, my friends, that's one of the things that software can do. Now, this is StreamYard that I'm using, but it inspired me to adopt FlowChat because it has that similar capability. So much love, my friends. Thank you, Jarrett. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it, my friend. And reach out if you have any questions, everybody. Bye now. Good night.
Take care.